But finding who you are and finding that internal strength, oh my goodness, what a gift. So I'm more for the breakup, I think. No, not into breakup, obviously, but just take that time. Take that time. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about breakups because I've been through a lot of breakups because I've been single for a long time, and it's great. Yeah, I would say, I can say a lot about singleness, but I think the biggest thing I would, like, advice-wise, maybe, I would say, like, lean into your friendships, and, like, learn how to be a friend, I would say, because, like, if you are interested in dating or, like, ready to like, try to date, or you are dating, like, that's really just a friendship. Like, we put labels on all these relationships, like talking and, like, you know, dating and boyfriend and girlfriend, and, like, we're in a relationship, all this stuff, and it's like, you're just friends, really. Your relationship with your dating partner is, like, just as fragile as any relationship. Sorry. But they can leave anytime, you can leave anytime. So yeah, like, just lean into friendships, and, like, if you're dating someone, lean into that friendship, and, like, be a good friend to them, and, like, learn how to be friends together. And I would also say, if you're especially interested in, like, relating to men, like, you know, in friendship or dating one day or marriage one day, I would say lean into male friendships, and, like, learn how to be friends with males. Yeah, I have some of my sweetest friendships are with our college guys. We have really great guys in RUF. So yeah, lean into those friendships. That's all.
I would also like to speak on it if no one else is going to. I'm commandeering the mic. Yeah, I've mainly been single my whole life. I dated, like, one guy my senior year, and I dated him because I felt like I had to, not like he made me feel like that, but it's just like, oh, the first guy that's actually interested in dating me, cool, like, I have to date him then. And that was just really sad for both of us. Like, yeah, girl. But we're friends now, so it's fine. But it was just like, that wasn't me being a good friend. I wasn't honest with him. I wasn't, like, kind and considerate about his feelings. It was just like, oh, like, this is what dating is, just, like, move forward. And so I really had a poor view of what a good friendship in dating looks like. And so again, like, and like what Connie said, you can't find your worth in, like, another person. It's just not gonna work. And I've done that in, like, other friendships too, like, not just dating ones, but it just really does fall apart, and you end up hurting them and yourself in the end. And it's gonna happen because we're broken people, and so, like, we're gonna hurt one another, and that's where, like, forgiveness and, like, grace comes in. But I do think, like, the biggest thing that I've learned is just, like, it's not better on the other side. Like, me dating someone is not going to make me feel great about myself, or it's not going to, like, fill that void in my heart that I'm, like, not worthy. It's not going to fill that. It's just not going to work. And putting that on a person is really unkind. Like, that's the only, like, God is the only spirit being that can actually hold the weight of your worth. And so putting that on a person is really unkind. And I say that really like it sounds easy. It's really hard. It's like a daily thing. I have to ask for, like, patience and perseverance, and like turning to the Lord. Like, it's a daily thing, and I don't do it as often as I should. But anyway, so that's my only thing with coming into, like, singleness or breakups, is just don't put your worth on someone else. They can't hold it. Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say.
Oh, go for it.
When you're dating, you really don't know, should I marry this guy? Should I not marry this guy? I don't know. And so I think that humbly, I remember it was after RUF actually, and I wanted to marry a guy who was a soccer player from Australia with an accent, because I really liked Australian accents. But there's this guy named Nate who I ended up marrying later. But he was like really boring and he's a year younger than me, and like a year younger is a big deal sometimes when you're in college. And but it was about God's love and God's care for you in your marriage. And I'd listen. Anyways, that's a different story. But I'll let say. I remember being under this really orange light, and it was like 10:30 p.m. And I just remember giving it to the Lord and saying, "You're my Father. You care about me, and you care who I marry, and I want you to arrange that marriage. I give it to you versus me doing it myself." And I didn't know how that would look or what it would look like, but it was just, I felt like a piece of me died, and I started crying. And I just was like, "And I'll marry whoever you want, even if it's Nate Henderson." And because he was so boring, and he didn't think I was funny, and he even said, "I don't like curly hair." I'm like, ah. Like, but for some reason, there was like this weird connection. So, anyways, but so all let's say, we ended up like becoming friends. I found out he was actually really solid, cool guy. Like, I came from a broken marriage background with my parents. He's super loyal, super steady. I'm like a wave, up and down, up and down. And we got married, and then we got married, and you really don't know what you're getting into when you get married to someone, because you haven't experienced all these issues in life together yet. And the Lord gave me the best marriage ever, and he's my best friend, and he's amazing, and he's wise, and he's humble. He was always the first to say I'm sorry when we first started fighting about stuff, but then I was like, I have to say sorry first, like it was competition for me then. And so I mean, like, but it's just been a wonderful marriage just because I gave it over to the Lord for that. And I don't know how that would look in your life and what that type of marriage would be. It doesn't mean it was going to be a wonderful marriage. It could just be, there's all different scenarios and different stories God brings us to. But I would say giving it to him and trusting in him. And with dating, nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. That should be a good rule for you. And yes. And it's really hard to make decisions on guys if you're physically involved with them. You can't really see their character as well. Like, suddenly black and white becomes completely gray and you have no idea what's going on. And my friends, and I see that with my friends, I'm like, can't you see he's mean? And they're like, no. Like, why? Because they're making out and doing all this stuff. So I'm just saying, nothing good happens after 10 p.m.
And with closed doors. Yeah. And with closed doors.
Yes, that's too. Even if it was.
This is great. I love it. Okay, I guess we could. Okay. Kind of going off of that, how should we approach sexual boundaries in a dating relationship? You kind of started it, so I was just going to keep it going.
Keep your doors open.
Keep the doors open, Connie.
Well, I once heard when I was in high school, your body doesn't know you're not married. So keep that in mind.
I also did not date a whole lot of people into my senior year of college, in which I actually dated 2 boys and got married to one of them later. But I was really surprised, honestly, by sexual sin. Like, it kind of like caught me off guard in college. Like, I just didn't really think I would struggle a whole lot with that. Like, my life had been pretty boyless, and I was like, fine. And then it like really just like hit me in the head pretty hard. And I just feel pretty strongly that if you can like look at your relationship and be like, we are glorifying the Lord in all these different ways, but not in how we interact physically, then you're not glorifying the Lord in your relationship. And to take sexual sin really seriously, because it is serious. And that, again, like, he can be the best and kind and great, and like y'all can have awesome fun times together and like all this different stuff. But if that one area is just like off, then you need to like take a serious step back and kind of figure out what it looks like to glorify the Lord in that area. And that's a hard question to ask. Like, am I glorifying the Lord when I'm doing this with my boyfriend? Because conviction comes pretty quickly, I would say. And then also accountability was like, honestly, I feel like the only way I made it through dating too, and through engagement also, especially too. And having a friend who like forced me to like share with her like what we were doing and when I was messing up, and to like truly confess sin, and not in a way in which like, oh, what happened, like what was fun, and like share all the juicy details, like not in that way at all, but just in being like, hey, like I messed up, and we like had, and like kind of that area of confession. Because if you don't feel comfortable like saying out loud what you're doing too, then that's also kind of a helpful way too to be like, oh, this is maybe not the best. So instead of asking like, how far is too far, I would just encourage you to ask, is this glorifying the Lord? And unfortunately, that does mean that you have to repress a lot of what you probably want to do. But I think, again, too, and back to the question about breakups, if you are not married to this person, you do not know if you're going to be married to them, even if you're engaged. And that breakup will potentially also be way harder, like the more you're involved in all areas, like emotionally, spiritually, sexually. And again, just like respecting that God knows best, and that he asked us to wait until marriage to be sexually involved in any array of whatever that means. And so submit to like your desires, no matter how intense they are, to him. And then again, to figure out what you need to do to help submit those desires. So like at one point in my dating relationship, I remember we were walking at Bass Lake, and we were like, if we like can't figure out like rules that work for us, basically, then we're gonna have to just go on walks in public places, because I don't want to break up with you. Like, I really like you and I want to keep dating you, but what we're doing, like, we're falling into the same pit over and over again. And so to like just seriously like force yourself to take it seriously, and then to find friends that also hold you to that accountability and see it as a serious thing too, instead of being like lighthearted and playful about it. Because I think that's often our go-to when we like feel uncomfortable, or like, oh, like it wasn't a big deal. But that, I just don't know if that is glorifying the Lord.
Can I just add something really quick? Yeah, I would just also add, if you're here and you're like, okay, I don't really like buy this whole like sexual sin, like what even is sin? Like, sex feels good, like why is that sinful if that's like a good thing for my body? And you're like, what does it mean, like glorifying the Lord? That like those words make no sense to me. Then like, I would love to get coffee with you and talk to you about that, because like, sisters, I totally have been there where I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, I don't care about glorifying the Lord, and like, why does the Lord like know good things for me? Like, that's stupid. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So yeah, if you're there and you're just like, yeah, none of this like glorifying the Lord makes sense to me, please, let's get coffee. Yeah.
And that's really where I was going. So often we approach sex like it's a big no. I just have to say no, no, no until I'm married. And what we forget is perspective. We forget where sex belongs in our lives. So let me give you something to say yes to. So a lot of what we talk about when we talk about glorifying God in sexual relationships begins with thinking about why sex exists in the first place. So the most concise way I can say it is that God gave us sex as an extension of the intimacy that we should already feel with our partner. So God made us, he made Adam and Eve, not to be married necessarily. I mean, yes, they were married and they had children and all of that. But God said God was eternal and communal forever. He was never alone. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, he is a relational being. So when he created humans, he created us to be relational beings. He said about Adam, it's not good for him to be alone. It's not good that he doesn't have anybody to have sex with. Like, it's not good for him to be alone. So we need community and we need relationships. And sex is a special thing that you have that is an extension of the intimacy the emotional intimacy that you feel with your partner.